Welcome back to Soul Purpose Leaders interview. Today, I have an amazing speaker and I cannot wait to have her on the screen. But before we can do that, I would like to say, first of all, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace be upon you. And it all started due to COVID, yes, because of a lot of people, they were going through emotional turmoil, they're going through mental health, and they're going through isolation. And even though the lockdown has been eased down and we're feeling good, people going out, they're talking with others, but there are still people out there who are struggling. And people are looking or finding their feet to go to the no, go back to normal. But end of the day, we are back again here talking with great leaders about their life, about who they are and what they do in this world. Because a soul purpose leader is a leader that's actually used their purpose in helping themselves, but also helping other people. Now, today, I have this amazing lady. Her name is Suzan Owera. She's from Uganda, and she had a challenging life, childhood, and she's going to tell us all about that. But most of it is that she had this confidence and had this drive, and she, even though she lost her mom at a young age, and through the life difficulty pushed her to actually start looking for job early on and start looking for ways that she can enhance herself through personal development, personal growth. And within that, she actually went through, she wanted to become Miss Uganda. Yes, the beauty pageant. And also she went and she also worked with the Norwegian Refugee Council and for WFP programs. She did really well. She didn't have family support so much in some ways, and she will explain that as well. But most of it, their family knew where she was because she had to travel to look for jobs and things like that. But her most love and passion, it came from the children, but also seeing people, especially children, having they're going through difficulties, moments in their lives through sickness of the sickle cells, blood disorder. And that's when she actually found her passion. And she started to have this, to build an organization so she can be able to help as many children as possible. Now, she's going to give us the insight of Uganda, the way, especially the rural area of how people live in Uganda. And with this sickness, how do they deal with it? Now, before we can go any further, I just want us to bring Suzan here. So, Suzan, welcome. And how are you today?
Thank you very much. I'm doing great. And I'm so excited to have this opportunity. And I'm looking at it as a big start. And let me start with the word thank you.
You're welcome. And I just want us to know. So, Suzan, can you tell us or can you take with us to your childhood? How was it for you growing up in Uganda?
My life as growing up as a child, it was all okay. At the time, my mom was still alive with us. I was born in a family of 7, and I'm the 3rd child. Life was a very challenging thing for me. My mom was my best friend. She was everything to me. I never remember leaving her side. She was a woman of character. She would bake, she would do all sorts of things. She would knit a tablecloth. She was a very hardworking woman. She had so much love and compassion for children and the community. She had always been surrounded by friends. But life took her away from especially me, because when she passed on, let me go back before she passed on, I was left in a very difficult situation at a early age. Not only her that I was looking after when she was ill, she had a newborn baby at the age of three weeks. And when they brought her back home, I had to look after her, bath her, look after the little baby, feed the baby, even sleep at night in the same house where she is. And my father had another wife. So my other siblings, they all moved in to stay with my mother, my stepmom. And none of them would help me to look after my mom. I would cry and beg them to at least help me wash her clothes, at least help me feed her. And at some points, I would be scared. I was kind of, I knew people die. And in my head, sometimes I would like, what if she dies and I'm on my own with her? So that was frightening for me. But our friends, they would come along and help me sometimes during the day. And my mom, I remember the same week that, actually the day that she passed on, she was talking to me quite a lot. She was worried about me because I did not have really good relationship with my dad. And the baby died before her. And that day I was just holding the baby in my hand, like making him sleep. But I thought the baby was just sleeping, but the baby was already dead until her friend came and asked to help me with the baby. So I saw her walk inside the house and came back without the baby. And I asked her, is he sleeping? And she just sent me to go and play with my friends. So then she went and called my dad.
Sorry to cut you. Sorry about that. Sorry to hear about your mom and about the baby. But how old were you at this time?
I was 14, I guess. And I saw my dad and my stepmom going in there. And when they came outside, I was always concerned about my mom. And even when I'm going to play with my friends, I don't go that far because I knew she was my support. She was everything. And it took me a while to understand really my relationship with my dad, because when my mom passed away, you know how Africa can be dark sometimes at night. She would be critically ill at night. I would come outside, run to my stepmother's door to call them to come. And I would be shaking. and sometimes just crying. And I felt like no one was listening, but I had so much love and compassionate, and I felt the pain she was going through. Sometimes she would be crying, and I would be crying with her as well. So that night, I remember when she passed on, something was very strong in my heart that you shouldn't sleep there tonight. And I refused. I say to my dad, even if you want to kick me out of home, I'm ready to go. I'm not going in there. And I did not sleep there. And she died. But I also remember before she died, that same day, she gave me money and she said, go and buy yourself things that you need because you need it. And she really, really comforted me. It was like she knew she was going. And after that, life became really, really difficult for me. My stepmom would not give me food. Even my siblings, they kind of turned against me. Like everybody was like, just shouting on me, like, oh, you're not good in this, you're not good in that. And I was left alone in the house where my mother died. And I used to cook my own food. And I never bothered to go to the big house where my stepmother and my other siblings moved. But I thank God for one. I thank God for one thing, that I had so much courage. There was something within me that never left me. And I'd learned how to bake, we call it chapati bread. I'd learned how to knit the tablecloths. I'd also learned how to plait hair. So I kind of engaged myself in doing these things. Early morning, I would wake up, take my bread in every shops around the village. Every evening, I would go to collect my money. And I'd learn how to cycle as well. I would
So yeah, like you're a young entrepreneur. You're able to, I think we have a connection, and I hope that you're able to see me and hear me. We will get back to Susan in a minute, but that's an intense story to hear, and to have that experience for such a young age, especially at the age of 14, losing the baby while you're carrying and looking after every single day, and dying in your arms without knowing, and then having another loss as your mom. But then that is not even enough. You became people looking at you and complaining and treating you really badly just because you're different, or just because you didn't have the same as you're not like the same as everybody else, just because you lost your mom. And now with a new wife, it became like she's not visible. She doesn't exist. And that's the sad thing about, life in Africa, or even here in these countries, in the Western as well, it can happen. So it doesn't matter what country you are, but it has happened. Mistreatment, treated cruelty or injustice and unfairness. It's everywhere in the world. I hope to get Susan back, and then we'll be able to continue. We do appreciate your patience with us. Thank you. Welcome back. And we've got Susan back, and she's going to be able to continue where she left off. Susan, welcome back. Thank you for joining us again.
Thank you. Yes, as I was saying, what I went through as a child, it reached a time where my brain had to work, because at some points, life became very challenging that my father would kick me out of home. So I would be homeless, like at least 1 to 2 weeks, sleeping at the neighbors, and I would go down the well to bath. And all this, I never understood why I was treated so differently from other children. And during Christmas, my father would buy presents, especially new clothes, new shoes, but I would get nothing. And the fact that I was having my little income from what I was doing, I also used to, sell people's local alcohol. I used to carry 20 liters, 4 of them at the same time on the bicycle, and I would run and take it in the market for sale. The most amazing thing was, whenever I'm selling something, people would buy. As soon as I reached there, they would test it and it would be gone. So in a day, I would sell like 4 to 5 people, different people, and I would save my money. And education-wise, my father would give me school fees, like half, and then the rest he would not give to me. So all that left me with so much question. And until one day I went to a friend's wedding, and coming home, my bag was put outside the door, and I had to leave the house. And I went, and first of all, I didn't know where I was going. So I ended up going to one of my auntie, and I was sick as well. I had so much pain in my stomach that I was never treated for. Though my father was a medical worker, and he never showed me this care at all. So to the point that he gave me school fees, and I ended up going to seek help to one of the medical doctor, and who knew him very well. And I paid the money for school fees for my operation. And my auntie didn't care to look after me food-wise. So no one would carry water for bath for me. No one would wash my clothing. And my friends would come and help me. So I remember I used to eat nuts. We call it G-nuts. That was what I used to survive with. At some points, I would walk. My secondary school was not that far. I would walk and go to my friends. They would give me the soup of their beans, and that's what I would eat, and return like late in the evening walking, holding my stomach until I get home. So during that challenge of my operation, I also learned a lot from it. And all this situation that I went through, it made me a woman I am today. And I've realized that without those happening to me, I would not be able to speak up for myself or for anyone else. That's the little I can say about my childhood life to make things shorter. Thank you.
You're welcome. And it's so hard to hear a story like yours, but it's happening to a lot of children out there. And did you even know or understand why your dad treated you like that?
I used to ask my relatives, and to the point I used to go in the village to my grandmother, my mother's mom, to avoid. I needed answer, but there was no one to give me that answer, and I never got that answer till now. Though I used to work so hard to prove myself to my dad that I'm somebody. All I need is someone to accept me, someone to show me love, someone to guide me. And I worked so hard for that approval from him, but I got it in the end when he was critically sick, and he didn't make it because life was not easy at my auntie as well. So I had to leave to go where my dad was working. And he didn't want to offer me accommodation. I remember we traveled the same day, and when we reached to Gulu, that's the town, he left me in the park. I took my taxi and I went after him. And he entered in the main house. And I entered, I asked the key for the kitchen. It was at the side of the main house. So he gave me that key. And that's where I started from. And I looked for the job. We would not talk to each other. And I began to cook. I would cook lunch and put it on the table for him. And he would come back and eat. And one thing that amazed me, I got a job so quickly as well, working at the shop. And I was the one paying the workers there. So I was like an accountant without qualification, but with confidence. So I used to come back with a lot of money in my bag. So for me to kind of ask for that approval, to put myself forward to him that I'm an important person. So I would take all the money and give it to him to keep for me until the day for paying the employees comes. So I built up the relationship with him until he began to leave money for food on the table. So I've always never kind of judged him or questioned him. So I ended up losing that job. And I didn't want to return back to my stepmother's house or my auntie where I was. So I decided to leave that town. So I moved to a town where I knew no one there. But my auntie had a family friend who was a nurse in that hospital. So I knew the name. I remember buying a box of egg, and sugar. So I left not knowing where I'm going to, who I'm going to meet. So when I arrived there, I went straight in the hospital and asked for this lady. And they took me to this lady. So she welcomed me into her home. Her family was a big family, but they all accepted me, though I didn't even know where to start from. I explained myself to her, I'm here to look for a job. At that time, I was only an all-level student who tried nurse training school, but due to the school fees, I could not continue as well. So luckily enough, I remember going to look for a job, and not in just any offices. I knew the person I am, and I knew I can do greater things. So I had that confidence, and I knew which office to go to. So when I was just walking, and I asked someone that I'm looking for World Food Program office. They directed me there. When I arrived there, I found like 20 other people by the gate side. So I asked them which type of people they are recruiting and what qualification they need. So with me was just a written application, no CV, nothing at all. So I remember asking the security man to allow me to see the manager or director. And he asked me what for. I mentioned to him that I'm looking for a job. And he went in, he came back, and he said, yes, the manager will see you. So he walked with me inside, and the manager asked me, how may I help you? So I spoke, and I mentioned why I was there, and he gave me appointment to come back the next day. He did ask me a few questions, whether I know how to use computer, and I knew not. And I was honest with him. I said, I don't know. I've never even touched it. And so when I came back on Monday, that Monday he asked me to come. That was the day I began to work. And he just said, come with me. And he was introducing me to his staff in the offices. And so he gave me like a piece of papers with writings on it. I didn't know anything to do with the computer, and he asked me to type it and give it back to him. So I went and I asked, there was one of his employee in the office. So I remember to ask him to start the computer for me, and he did. So when I get stuck, I would ask him, how do I do this? He would show me what to do. And I ended up typing that thing. I printed it out. It was like verification forms. So I took it back to him. And that was how I got a job with Norwegian Refugee Council. And sometimes I would also go in the field as a volunteer, and I would make tea as well in the office. Sometimes I was just a girl of whole character. And yes, that's how I ended up working with Norwegian Refugee Council.
But that's because you seem to have these habits of, you have so much kind of like, I would say, luck, or you have this aura of just people who want to work with you, people buying your products or buying your service and being there for you. And even though you're mistreated at home, or by your family, but there is something inside of you, and you call it yourself as a confidence, but it's something more that you just give out that, yes, I will do it, I will learn, and I'm here, I can make it happen. Now, that wasn't that was just a start to walk into the refuge camp. Can you tell us more of the what happened after that? What led you to after the refugee camp?
To be honest, love. Love is a great thing for anyone, and it can take you far once you've got that inside you. That's what I believe in. And I've always had this love inside me that even someone hurts me, I always try to make them happy. And that is one of the things that has been keeping me going. And I don't only look back to bad things, negative things. I look for positive bits of things that I go through. And I always try to make a difference within things that happens to me. And also, one thing which has been really, and I've learned from, is once you accept the situation you're in and you acknowledge that only you can change that situation, then you will be good. And that, my experience working there with the children and parents, the refugee in general, I've also learned a lot to be a compassionate person towards someone going through a difficult situation where they've got no control over. Because though my parents, my family didn't treat me right, didn't guide me, that to me, it did not mean that I should forget them. That is where I come from. And that is where I will always call home. And I was blessed. And I believe it is God that allowed me to go through those things to mentor me to be a person, a people's person, because it takes only one, it takes a person to understand another person's situation. Unless you've been through something, then you will be able to relate to that person. And all those that I had, when my father was very ill, we had no food at home because he was the only breadwinner. And I was the only one working, and I would be driven home with a flag. And I began to receive respect. And you know, that courage that I had no fear at all. I remember when I contested for Miss, when they were looking for Miss Uganda, I went without a support of anybody, but I believe in myself, not only the beauty, but I believe in something inside me that can make me be a better person and to help others. I needed a platform to start from. So I didn't stop there. I went further and I became Miss Kidgum in that town where I was working. Though I didn't apply for it, I just went to I remember just going in there with my friends to just watch who is to be crowned that night. And I ended up being that person. And that also connected me to important people. I used to interact with the government people. I used to interact with the president when he comes. I was one of the people who would welcome him in the town. So there was, to me, I used to take risk as well. And I believe in taking risk that it will not hurt you, but you will get something out of it.
Wow.
And yes,
You have
and when
this,
people, sorry.
it's okay. You have this way of, the forgiveness, the understanding, and the knowledge, the wisdom. For you, were you taught these things? Was it your mother who taught you when you were younger? Was it or something that is within you that you just grew up with it? How did it come about? Because a lot of other children or other person, they would be traumatized, or they would feel that, this is against me, or these people treating me differently. Why should I forgive them? Or why should I, treat them this way with respect and things like that? Can you tell us where or how did you find that strength? And how did you find that wisdom was inside of you, the strength that you can say, you know what? It's my family at the end of the day. They did that, but it's okay. It's done.
Yes, like I said before, when you believe in yourself as you, a person, and you know how to treat others, and you expect to be treated well, and all these things, there's only one thing which is a key to it, which is love. When you don't receive love from people, you still want to give that love, the same type of love you wish to receive. For me, as Suzan, my life has made me strong. And I've never put my focus on negative things that happens to me. It's when you know who you are, because you're the only person who knows yourself and what you're capable of. It's only the confidence within you and trusting in God and having faith that, and knowing your goal, and you will always get there. And one of the things that made me believe that having faith works is how I found myself in England. It's one of another story altogether, because my life has been a journey from my hometown to where my father was working, and then a man who was working with World Food Program picked me from there. As we built a relationship, moved me into the city, and I'd not reached in the city before. I'd not gone there. I just used to hear, but this man brought me from where I was working to the city, and the city became my home. And so I was treated so badly, rejected from the entire family. But I was the one on top, like before everybody. And I always bring them back with me. I've never forgotten them. So from the city, and then I found myself in the UK, and I've always had this thing in me that I don't say negative things about myself. I say positive things, that I'm going there, and this is what I want.
So tell us the moment you came into UK, the moment what made you to start this organization? What was the reason, and what did you have? What was that told you that this is it, this is for you?
When I came to the UK, my boyfriend brought me, and I was meant to go back to Uganda, but something happened which made me not to go back. I will not mention now. And so I ended up claiming asylum, which took me a very long time. And I used to stay without work for a very long time. I would not access any cash money, but still I had something inside my heart that I had a shopping card, which they call a vouchers card. You can only shop with it. You can't withdraw money. And so I used to have a shopping buddy who would shop with my card and give me cash in return. And there was something missing still in my heart. I have a sister who has 4 children, and one of them is a sickler. And she was struggling because her husband threw her out of the home with the sick boy. And so whenever I call home, they would tell me she's in the hospital, and she's got no money. Sometimes she would ring me and her phone would cut off. So I was struggling as well, but I felt for her. And I began to read more about sickle cell disease. And I found out how I can help. And one of my sisters would go to visit them, and she would tell me that the boy looks neglected. Though my sister found another husband, they got married last month, God bless them. And I asked my sister, what is the best way I can support them? And then she said, well, if you give them money, they will also use it on other things. And something just clicked in my mind that there should be a way you can do it for the best interest of this child. So I went on Facebook and I found this church, this pastor preaching. I sent message to him. I built a relationship with him. And then I asked him, can you help me? And he asked me, it depends. So I explained the situation to him and I sent the money to him. I instructed him, you need to buy A, B, C, D. And he did as I instructed. So he went and visited my sister. And because my sister did not know where the support was coming from, she thought it's from the church. And I would just ring her and find out, oh, how is the boy doing? And then she would say, there's a church who started supporting them and they now have so much courage and strength. And the boy is no longer going to hospital like before. So I'm like, okay, this is working. And then she began to share the message with other parents in the same situation like herself. So these parents came out calling for help from this church. So this church would give me feedback. And they would say, there are more children. So one parent came and it looks like the son was really sick. So my sister took the folic acid and things that she had received and shared from 2 children and then 5 more children. And my boyfriend at the time, my partner actually, who just passed away recently, and my fiance, I shared my struggle with him, and he came up with something which he supported me, and my heart was touched for these children and their parents. When they sent me their pictures, I would be in tears, looking at the children with no clothes, no shoes, and it was just painful to watch. So that was really what made me start this organization, to be able, because I feel like I'm in a position where I can speak for them. I can send message out there to the world on their behalf. Because I believe and I know there are people with love that they can share. It's all about giving love and showing kindness to someone, especially a child.
That's amazing, and thank you for sharing. Now, can you tell us your organization, what does it do for these children? How does it help them?
We as Comfort Center, our mission and the vision mainly is to share the love of Christ and also to give them hope and encouragement, not only to the children, but their parents as well. And what we provide them, we support them with folic acid, warm clothing, shoes, pineapples, especially the food stuff which is recommended by the doctor, and mosquito repellents and mosquito nets. And not only the sickle cell children we have now, we also have the list of children with hemophilia, blood disorder as well. And which they're all in the category of blood related, which they're struggling, and their parents these are the people, we are working within the rural villages where they really have no financial stability, and we're hoping that we can set up the agriculture project to help them learn how to plant, especially like fruits that can benefit these children, so that we don't need to be buying from elsewhere. They can grow it themselves. And we have big goals, and I believe together with the help of the world, we will grow for the benefit of these children.
When you say that the help with the world, what is that help you're looking for? Because let's be honest, you're doing so many things that you're helping the community there. But what help do you need for yourself or the community or the organization? Which help are you looking for?
When I say the help, it means we can all come together and donate something little. When I say donate, it can be money, or organization can donate like nets or folic acid or mosquito repellents. One can donate anything they can. That's what I mean by coming together.
That's amazing. So you're looking for either as a product or service or as funds, really, because it's only the only ways to help in ways that you can enhance those ways that you can help this community, especially in Uganda. Now, everything that's going on, because do we have a way, do you like show going to Uganda? How are you going there yourself? Is it already the organization has been built there? How does it work in Uganda?
In Uganda, we have the staff members which we recruited recently, and we have registered ourselves as community-based organization. We are hoping to partnership with the church we started with, and I'm looking forward to going there on the ground from time to time myself. But mainly is that we are building an office. We are setting up an office whereby these parents can turn to for help. And also, we as Comfort Center, every member has love and compassion inside their hearts, and that makes us greater people. And we're not thinking about ourselves, but we are thinking about the children, and we are hoping to widen up our network. And especially me as a leader, a founder and director, I'm looking forward and hoping to link up with other organizations and learn from them. Because though I've always done things, but I also believe in working and learning from others, especially like you. I know I can learn, and through learning, I can become a better leader.
Thank you for sharing that. And we're all learning. We're all here to support one another. And I'm glad to be part of that growth and part of that, being able to be there for you and for your organization. Now, what is the next step for your organization?
Um, the next step for Comfort Center Uganda is we have reached somewhere. Where we have reached right now, we are in the right place. And we are thinking ahead in the sense that we still have very little income, which has been coming from my pocket and other members and my other half who passed away. And we have set up our website. Anyone who is ready to be part of this organization in helping these children with sickle cell disease and hemophilia, you can always go onto www.Comfort Center Uganda website, and you'll find and see all about us in there. And we hope to share our link for donations. And we are also making some connections, looking for funds from other organizations. And yes, that is where we're at the moment. We are still setting up our structure.
That's amazing. Thank you. And also for people who may be good at marketing and they can give their time, they will be able to actually help you with that as well. Can you tell us, if you have a message to the world, what would that message be?
My message to the world would be, I know our world is changed very much, but that should not make us as human beings change. And we should open our heart and show kindness and love, especially to those in need, like sickle cell disease children and hemophilia blood disorder and other children in needs out there. Open your heart and open your door for whichever kind of support or help you can offer to Comfort Center Uganda, so that we can make a difference and give comfort and hope, and also to encourage the parents of these children. It's not an easy journey for them. And the world should know and be aware of that this genetic, it has been there and it will still be there. So we as Comfort Center, we also want to create their awareness, and we cannot do it on our own. That is why we are calling out for you to join us in making a difference in the lives of these children. I believe in working together, we can make a huge difference and impact in the life of these children. When someone is sick, we should always encourage that it's not the end for them yet. We should allow them to be able to see the next road ahead of them, because we have no control, but we can also have control by loving each other and by sharing the love of God and by sharing what you have within your heart. Because love is the key to life.
Thank you so much. And I love that message because it helps. And also we have to save our next generation. And these children did not choose to be sick, did not choose this disease. And that's why if we're able to actually go and support and help them as much as we can, because you never know who is going to be born with this illness or disease that they have. So thank you for enlighten us. Thank you for highlighting the problems and how these children going through and sharing this information with us. So thank you. And for people who wants to get involved or for people who wants to get in touch with you, where would they get in touch with you? You've said the website. I will also take all that information and I will add it into the description, so nobody have to be, if you're looking for it, it will be on the description area. But would you like to share with us so people can hear and where you like to spend your time in social media, and also if you can be able to repeat that website again for us? Thank you.
Yes, thank you. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram, and you can also email us on www.comfortcenter101@gmail.com. You can also reach us by contacting our telephone number +447 6604 0030.
Thank you.
And you can also go onto our website, www.comfortcenteruganda.co.uk.
For the Facebook, is it a Comfort Center, or what's the name on the Facebook and Instagram?
It's as Comfort Center.
Okay. Like I said, everyone, don't panic. This information will be on the description area. And I just want to say to Suzan, thank you for being here. I am so grateful and I'm so honored to have you and meet you and to be part of this journey with you. So thank you so much for joining us today.
You're welcome, and thank you for having me.
Thank you. And for everybody else, I cannot wait to see you for next time. And I don't know who might be the next speaker. It might be you. So you never know. Take care, everybody. And I shall speak to you soon.